Merry Christmas to each and every person that tuned in to this episode on DFJ Hoops. And if you're a Sixer fan, I know it does hurt that we didn't get this victory against the Miami Heat, but the Eagles did win against the Giants. So I think that's a positive. But ending Christmas with a Sixers loss, that was not something that I expected to happen. But we're going to talk about this game. But before we get into this video, please make sure you hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So before the game started, Joel Embiid was ruled out. He's suffering from a ankle sprain that he suffered against the Toronto Raptors, and I was even surprised that he was able to play the entire game against the Raptors. But I did expect him to miss this game, and then ultimately, of course, they ruled him out. And on the other side, Jimmy Butler is also dealing with a calf strain. He's missed the last 3 games for the Miami Heat. So both teams had 2 of their best players out. So, I mean, a lot of people thought that this should have been an even matchup. But let's get into the game and talk about what happened. So, this was the first game that Maxey was really cold to start. Now, this was the version of Maxey that I saw out there tonight. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was probably him in his Kentucky days. It was not the Sixers Maxey. It was not the Mad Max that we saw out there. I mean, he came out and he was ice cold. He missed his first 8 shots in the first quarter, and he couldn't buy a bucket in the first quarter. Nothing was dropping for him. Now he was getting some open looks. He was getting to the basket, shooting his floaters and teardrops, but for whatever reason, they were not dropping for him. And I want to give a huge shout out to the Miami Heat and their team defense. The Miami Heat play great. They play great team defense, and it's a lot of helping, recovering, cutting players on their driving angles, overcrowding their airspace and running guys off the 3 point line and stuff like that. And they'll throw a double team at you when you're not even expecting it. And I think that kind of threw Maxey off a little bit, but Maxey was still being aggressive, and he was getting to the lane, but he was not getting those foul calls. And I was shocked that in the first half he shot 0 free throws, and he was getting fouled. I mean, Tyler Hero was hacking him. I mean, Tyler Hero does that a lot, and it's even shocking that he only had 1 foul this entire game because he did get away with a lot of hacks. He did get away with a lot of fouling, those tic tac fouls, and he was not getting called for the foul. But the Sixers, even though Maxey was struggling, the Sixers did get the lead early in the first quarter, and it was solely off of Tobias Harris and Kelly Oubre Jr. Now, this is the first Kelly Oubre game that he came out and he was not inefficient from the field. I mean, since his injuries. Now, if I look at his stat sheet right here, he was 9 of 16 from the field. That's 56%. That was great from the field. He was 6 of 9 from the 3 point line. That's also 66%. Now he was 1 of 3 from the free throw line. Now the Sixers as a team was terrible at the free throw line, and we're gonna get to it by the fourth quarter. But the Sixers they had the lead, and then Miami started going on the run, and the Sixers ended the first quarter, and they were down by only 2 points, I think. But the Miami Heat started going on the run at the end of the first quarter, and it continued in the second quarter. And the Sixers went on a 7 minute stretch without a field goal. And that was so surprising. And in that stretch, Maxey was missing a lot of shots. D'Anthony Melton was also missing a lot of shots. And D Melt, he takes a lot of shots that, really pisses me off sometimes. And let's just be honest with D'Anthony Melton. He's a good player, but he's not a starting shooting guard on a championship team. And we need to realize that he's better off coming off the bench, being a combo guard, coming off the bench and, stretching the floor for you, playing defense and facilitating when it's necessary. And the Sixers need to realize that. I don't think he's good enough to be in the starting lineup. Now, he was 5 of 17 from the field, 2 of 9 from the three. And with Maxey missing his 9 shots in the first half, that didn't really help the team. So Miami starts going on a run, and they go on a 20. It was a 21-2 run, and the Sixers only scored free throws. They didn't really get any field goal in that stretch, and that was within that time frame. That was when um, B-ball Paul was also getting in foul trouble. Now the Sixers have an issue, and the issue is the backup center position. You have two backup centers that one is always in foul trouble, and the other one, for whatever reason, cannot play any kind of defense. And this has been an issue for a very long time. When we ex- when Joel Embiid goes to the bench, we always have a backup center issue, and Daryl Morey needs to address that situation because Embiid cannot be doing everything on this team. Yeah, he can help, but you don't expect him to do almost everything. He's going to have to take a seat at some point in this game. And if your backup centers is always getting in foul trouble, or your backup center cannot guard the guard the rim, is going to be a huge issue. But yeah, Paul Reed did pick up like 4 fouls in like 10 minutes, and Nick Nurse had to sub him out, obviously, and put in Mo Bamba. And Mo Bamba came in, and he did have a pretty decent offensive night. I'm not gonna take that away from him. He was making threes, he was getting offensive rebounds, he was getting putbacks, he was scoring layups, but defensively, it was just atrocious defensively. And he was getting beat, and he couldn't even box out. The Sixers couldn't box out. Him and Tobias Harris could not box out. And that's when this rookie right here, Hami Jaquez Jr., and shout out to him. Miami always gets these crazy players. I don't know where they find them, but he was balling, and he was just taking advantage of the Sixers not boxing him out. He did finish the game with 5 offensive rebounds, and the Sixers as a team had 5. So he was really hustling, and he was playing from short corner to short corner, and beating the Sixers off of backdoor cuts, and getting a lot of easy layups, and getting offensive rebounds, and getting all those second chance opportunities. Now the Miami Heat, they out rebounded the Sixers, I think 51-38, which is so terrible. I mean, I think one possession they had like 3 offensive rebounds in a row, and it was just terrible to watch the Sixers, put forth that kind of effort. But after the first half, the Sixers came out, and they threw out this zone. They were playing this zone. They were running this zone, and it's not. It was kind of like a hybrid type of zone. I call it a matchup zone, and that zone really it caught the Miami Heat off guard, and it caught them out of rhythm, and the Sixers started to go on a run on their own. And at that time, Maxey was still struggling from the field, but Tobias Harris stepped up. He was hitting tough shots, getting to the lane, hitting fadeaway shots, and hitting big threes, as well as Kelly Oubre Jr., who was hitting threes, and he was very very huge for the Sixers in terms of cutting the lead. And the Sixers ended up taking the lead in the third quarter with about 41 seconds left, off of Patrick Beverly free throws. He got to the line and made 2 of his free throws, and that put the Sixers up by 2. The score was 84-82, but Kyle Lowry did end up, tying the game up at the end of the third quarter. He banked a shot off the glass, and the Sixers went into the fourth quarter, and Maxey was still ice cold. Now, I'm giving Maxey a pass for this game because 9 times out of 10, Maxey always shows up to play. But for whatever reason, he was just off on Christmas night. Now, I don't know what he was doing last night. I don't know if he went out partying, enjoying the Miami life. I don't know what he did on Christmas night, on the night of Christmas Eve, but this was not Maxey. Like I said, this was the Kentucky version of him. This was not the 76er version of him. Now you can you can blame the Miami Heat playing great defense on him. You can blame him just having a terrible off night. I mean, it was just a combination of everything. But he was getting open looks. He was just not making those shots. But the Sixers did. They fell behind in the fourth quarter. They were down by 6, and every time they started making a run, Miami would also score. And that was when Hami Jaquez was really killing the Sixers in the painted area. I mean, there was one play where he went through Tobias's chest and kind of, told him that you gotta get your behind in the weight room. And seeing a rookie, seeing a rookie do that to Tobias Harris, it was just sad to watch that. But it was the Sixers didn't really come out with the effort that I expected them to come out with, and playing a team like the Miami Heat that played great team defense. You don't have to be lazy. You don't have to, mess around. You have to come in and try to put them away early because this Miami Heat team is no joke. And even without Jimmy Butler, even without they didn't have Josh Richardson, I think, who's a former 76er player. They were still able to be very, very competitive. Bam Adebayo he was just something else. Now Tyler Hero didn't really have a great offensive game, but he did finish with 22 points, but he was inefficient from the field. And Duncan Robinson hit some huge threes in the fourth quarter that ultimately won the Miami Heat the game. But before the game, I already expected this to happen. I didn't give the Sixers a chance to win this game, but I wanted to see more effort than the effort that they put forth tonight. And like I said, it was Maxey's fault because I mean Tobias Harris did show up. Tobias Harris had let me look at the box score right here. Tobias Harris finished with 27 points. But Maxey stepped up, and he was 4 of 20 from the field. If he had made two or three more shots, we probably having a different conversation. But he didn't show up, so I have to blame him, and I have to keep the same energy because if Tobias Harris was this terrible, which he has been, and against the Boston Celtics, he was terrible. I came on here and I blamed him for the loss. So I got to keep the same energy and blame Maxey for this. But I know for a fact that Maxey's gonna step up. He's gonna come. He's gonna come out the next game and be better than he was tonight. But it was sad that the Sixers lost. I'm not going to be too concerned. I do expect the Sixers to come out on Wednesday night against the Orlando Magic and probably do better than what they did tonight. Now, whether Joel Embiid plays or not, that's yet to be determined. But I expect them to. Me personally, I would expect them to play because the Orlando Magic gave us real trouble last year when we every time we played them, and this year they're a lot better than what they were last year. So we would definitely need everything that we have to kind of put them away. And I don't want us to end 2023 with a loss. So I'm glad you guys were able to hang out with me throughout this entire video. If you enjoyed this video, you can hit the like button and leave any comments down below. Again, if you have whatever you guys think, you can leave your thoughts right down below, and we'll get to it. Until next time, peace.